Have you ever found yourself wondering if that daily cup of tea you love is doing more than just waking you up? Well, you're not alone. Today, we're going to dive into the fascinating science behind how certain teas might actually be giving you a helping hand with your appetite. Let's get right into it.
So, this is the big question, right? Can that simple, comforting cup of tea really help you manage your appetite? Is there something more going on than just the warm liquid filling you up? Well, the answer seems to involve everything from your hormones to your metabolism, and it's pretty cool.
Okay, so scientists have put a whole bunch of teas under the microscope, and while a lot of them show some promise, we're going to focus on the real heavy hitters, the ones with the most compelling scientific evidence behind them. We're talking about the famous green tea, of course, but also white tea, oolong, and even the super potent yerba mate.
All right, so how on earth could a cup of tea actually influence something as complicated as our appetite? Well, it's not magic, it's biology. And it turns out there are some pretty sophisticated things happening behind the scenes. Let's break down the science of what makes you feel full, the science of satiety. When you dig into the research, it really boils down to three core strategies. First, tea can actually mess with your hunger hormones. Second, it can literally slow down your digestion, which keeps you feeling full. And third, it can tweak how your body actually burns energy. Let's go through them one by one.
Let's start with the hormones. I want you to meet ghrelin. You can basically think of this as your body's official, hey, go eat something signal. When your stomach is empty, your ghrelin levels go up, and that tells your brain it's time to get some food. So for appetite control, the name of the game is keeping ghrelin quiet.
And this is where our old friend green tea comes into play. It's loaded with these incredible compounds called catechins. You might have heard of the most famous one, EGCG. Well, studies have shown that EGCG can directly lower your ghrelin levels. So in other words, drinking green tea can literally help turn down the volume on your body's own hunger alarm.
So, the second way these teas can work has nothing to do with hormones. It's much more mechanical and simple. It's all about slowing down digestion. I mean, it makes sense, right? If the food stays in your stomach for a longer period of time, you're going to feel full for longer.
And the absolute superstar in this category is yerba mate. Check this out. One study found it can increase the time it takes for your stomach to empty by more than 50%. It went from an average of 38 minutes all the way up to 58 minutes. That extra 20 minutes can make a huge difference in how hungry you feel between meals. All right, and the third pathway is all about your metabolism. This is where certain teas can actually influence how your body uses the fuel you put into it. We're talking about things like cranking up your fat-burning machinery or even changing how you absorb nutrients from food in the first place. And what's really cool is that different teas have different superpowers here. For instance, studies suggest oolong tea is great at enhancing fat burning. At the same time, green tea pops up again with a totally different trick. It can actually reduce how many carbohydrates you absorb by getting in the way of certain digestive enzymes. It's like a 1-2 punch for your metabolism.
Okay, so we've covered the how it all could work in theory, but does the actual clinical evidence back any of this up? Let's take a look at what the research really says.
Now, these insights aren't just based on wishful thinking. They're drawn from a deep pool of 25 major studies. And we're not talking about small, flimsy studies. We're talking about serious clinical trials on humans and comprehensive scientific reviews.
And here's the kicker. Out of those 25 studies, a whopping 16 of them, that's a clear majority, found significant positive results, either for appetite suppression, for weight loss, or for both. When you see a trend like that in the data, you know you're onto something real.
Now, even within that solid data, some teas really just shine brighter than the others. To make this really concrete, let's put the spotlight on one of the most effective teas according to the research, yerba mate.
You have got to see this number. It is absolutely staggering. One study looked at a blend that contained yerba mate and found it led to an 81.8% reduction in food intake just 2 hours later. Now, okay, it was a blend, but that just highlights the unbelievable potential of this plant.
And if you thought that was surprising, listen to this. In one head-to-head comparison, researchers looked at white tea versus metformin, which is a really common prescription drug for managing blood sugar and weight. And what they found was that, when combined with diet and exercise, the white tea actually appeared to be more effective. That is a pretty powerful finding. So, after going through all the different mechanisms and the hard evidence, what's the actual bottom line? Let's boil it all down and look at the strongest contenders based on all this science.
Based on everything we've seen, 4 teas just consistently rise right to the top of the list. You've got green tea, especially for its hormone-regulating ECG. You've got yerba mate for that powerful effect on slowing down digestion. And then you have both white tea and oolong for their unique metabolic and fat-burning benefits.
At the end of the day, this all comes down to a really simple calculation. It's about risk versus benefit. And as obesity specialist Dr. Jason Fung puts it so well, quote, "You always want to look at the risk versus benefit ratio. What's the risk? Practically zero. For most people, it's pretty much all potential upside."
So look, is any single tea a magic bullet? Of course not. But the science is pretty clear that this simple beverage can be a powerful ally. And that just leaves us with one final question to think about. Is it possible that one of the easiest, simplest tools to help support your health goals is already sitting there waiting for you in your kitchen? Thanks for tuning in.